And welcome back to Tomb Raider Anniversary. The second, you could say, main stage of the game begins, which is to say Greek, St. Francis's Folly. With new set of enemies, as in like tiger, as in big female lions. And a big chamber of all kinds of things.
Natla doesn't honor her contracts, Pierre. I'd move on if I were you.
No, mademoiselle. Natla and I understand each other. I find things for her, and she rewards me handsomely. But you see the very thing she does. That is why you are not trusted.
I trust my instincts.
And that is why you are in second place. I am a professional, mademoiselle. I focus on the job, and I get paid.
There's more to life than money, Pierre.
This isn't life, mademoiselle. It's business. Your compulsion prevents you from seeing the difference.
It hasn't prevented me from getting a piece of the skill. How's business for you?
Touché. So then, why don't we see whose compulsion gets them the next piece?
So, that would be, well, foreshadowing about that, yeah, there's somebody else running around. Although, in the original one, Pierre would basically be just a recurring enemy which would appear in the Greece stages, generally just to annoy you. Then you shoot him down. Then it's gonna then he just disappears by running behind pillar or something, and then it will be something, and then it is gonna be some kind of annoying thing that he would keep reappearing. But in this case, they did made some bit more, you could say similarity to Belloc of Raiders of the Lost Ark, being something that, yeah, from the same area of expertise, which is say an archaeologist, but he was bad guy allied with Nazis, and generally Indy Jones's rival. That was a quite dangerous jump. And a room with secret picture of Perseus with a Medusa's head, and all that, and another new and a mechanic of the wall run introduced. That would become quite more prominent in here.
Have an affinity for heavenly bodies.
And that's a heavenly body and a hint about what to do. Shoot the blade and Medusa's eye. And it opens a path. And another little swing by puzzle, followed by a jump over, not a puzzle, and another little puzzle of showing that hand, back, and ends of feet. A different kind of solution to the same, you could say, problem. So let's just reset the pieces and go for it. Hand, hip, and feet. Allowing you to come in here and drop down the big spiral thing, and you can just yank away the center piece with grapple hook, and for some reason the big ball rolls away from there, even though I might have thought that it would have been quite well balanced being there. So just drop it, and despite going quite a big fall, doesn't get any squished from the fall either. So now, did I actually get the... There's a, you could say, a different combination well, this room also has a specific combination, but I really can't remember what it was, and it's got an artifact in it. So it's a kind of, you could say... Alright, let's just climb down using this pole. Up. Just landing in here. Because there's this big spear to roll over. Yep. Those ancient Greeks made a big, heavy spear capable of absolutely enduring that kind of big, heavy impact. But that one opens up the pathway. So let's just let it go. And it's up there again, so it's once again more of this climbing thing. There's quite a lot of this kind of do something, you have to go around to do something else type puzzles. Not like that. Ooh. Not that pleasant way to jump, but still getting through that. And going all kinds of crazy acrobatics. Yeah, painful. I would expect that Laura would resemble something like a very beaten after all these heavy bumps she's gonna take, especially noticing her quite noticeable large tracts of land. I would guess that she would be in immense pain from all that, and this cathedral or church is in quite poor shape after all that. So, but still, just jump over this. And there's another of these circle puzzles to just swing by. And with of course a big switch to open the door and let you get inside, roll the more felines, but oh yeah, it was right here. And I do remember that in the original one, the St. Francis's Folly was quite a hard stage. Not because at this first stage where what you're supposed to be doing is quite simple puzzle, but in the latter part it would become quite complex navigational challenge. It still is, but it feels somewhat easier, maybe. But now as I look about here, I can see that, yeah, it's the combination of the both images, which is to say hand, sword, eye, back, hips, feet, and knee as well. So that would be a important solution. But still going down these nice little circular stairs. And I do say that in the original one, you might expect that if you would want to do stereotypical Greek imagery, you would put all these white little rocks to the areas. But let's just go head a little bit back and go to the gather that artifact. Edit this. I edit out the grappling part. And I returned here, and there's the kneecap. Just open that. It opens that path with a nice secret bling sound, and with a bit of jumps and grapples I will just now grab the secret artifact. But now, let's head back to the big room down there. And here it is, back in the main room, the main puzzle of St. Francis's Folly. A big fall down there, various switches, and well, I can also see that there are doors regarding the different Greek deities. In the original one, instead of Hephaestus, it was Thor, which, well, with the nature of that puzzle, it made complete sense, but with the setting, it made absolutely no sense. It was Greek. It's Greece. Why would there be Norse god mentioned in Greek? So there was a little bit of change to that. Absolutely makes sense. Absolutely making sense. And I would guess that these all have been themed accordingly with all these deities. And I'm quite rusty in the sense that what order they could be tackled, or was it something that they were to be tackled in specific order? Can't really remember. This is a bit of a tricky stage, not in the sense that there's lots of different kind of navigational puzzle and hazard in it. Alright, but just dropping down here. Oh yeah, there's another of those handles to pull up, out. There's another of those switches. Well, let's just do the careful thing and just very slowly and methodically go down to the lowest level and then climb up. And yeah, that 4 big block doors and the 4 keys is the exact path to take when you want to get out. But let's just flip the first lowest switch and call Atlas. That would be a Greek titan, which would, well, that's a Greek titan which got real harsh certain sentence to keep the sky and earth separate from each other, which is to say Titans, keep the Titans, primordials, Gaia and Uranus separate from each other. Because despite being associated basically with as a Mother Earth, Gaia was quite a monstrous powerhouse, you could say. So, keeping her and her husband Uranus separate was a kind of, you could say, good thing to do. I would say that Damocles is one of the most more annoying puzzles this place has. Alright. How do I get there? Yeah. Now through that, Damocles is... And Damocles also is not a god, it's more like a allegory of something else. Basically, responsibility, duty, and all that kind of hazards you might have to deal with the king, especially when the term Sword of Damocles is taken. But I don't remember the exact circumstances how that story was done and went. Alright. No, not to here. Alright, I could go through here. Well, not that hard, bad landing. Alright, just climb again. There's gonna be a lot of this kind of climbing around the place puzzle, which in the original one it was I feel it was way less confusing regarding the routes you would need to take. Oh yes, my mistake, I forgot that I can just jump from this pillar and climb up this way. But I would be not, as I would now have Atlas opened. Not like that. Oh yeah, there's that. A small mistake. Not another big issue. Yeah, that one now just bumped into place, and pushing this block gives it a bit of, you could say, necessary location of what it actually does. So just go here and jump across this gap to grab the little health pack. Combat encounters are gonna become more difficult as well, so having more health packs is kind of sensible. And big jump over here and shimmy across the ledge. Despite being extremely strong, Laura is actually quite, you could say, tiny hands and legs. Of course, it might be something that regarding that she doesn't so much need bulk. She has to get much more mobility and speed than raw strength, which of course with her line of work makes sense, because that climbing out things like that are not that, you could say, easy to do if you would have a big heavy bulk of muscle to carry. So being as light as possible while as strong as possible is more or less exactly how she would be, and she's squashed to death. Well, damn, this is annoying little navigation puzzle, and damn, I just started right down here. So let's just try again. It's all about just figuring out where you have to jump, so you don't get so it is not too much of a Alright. Well, there would be one secret. Well, yeah, that leads to Damocles, where I am not going. Although, let's just grab move these. Well, let's just grab this item from here. This stage, I would say, is you could say one of the more tough ones regarding the navigation, because there's just so many layers and phases at this stage to navigate through. There's these blocks, switches, so much, you could say, not that easily deciphered problems to deal. But there's Atlas now, so how do I get there? Well, there's the big pole. Oh yeah, I have to do it a bit to go a bit higher floor. Oh yeah, that's one little some bit extra smashiness. And I do feel that the hit detection regarding the grapples is kind of janky in quite many phases. So these kind of diagonal jumps do spook me, that if the hit detection shunts outside to the intended target and then just throws you off to horrifying fall, it would not be that fun. Well, there's Hephaestus opened. And this switch also allows me to get this. So just jump here. And a couple of bats just to make a bit more exciting. And there would be a third switch over there. Just jump there. Jump here. Jump here. And do a big old fashioned gymnast's flip across here. Opening door of Poseidon. And a couple of bats as well. And nicely enough, they added these little fires to these switches to tell you that, yep, so you have opened this one. Now that's a big and ill-tempered bad thing. But now let's just do the ponderings. Hephaestus, how do I get there? Oh, that way. Just a little jump over here. That one I already activated, but I'm gonna activate it again just in case. And I would say that the sense of height that they managed to get to this game is real good. It's dizzying, these heights that they really make it, and sound work also really makes a good emphasis on how high how tall these structures are, and how exactly why exactly they were built like this, kind of immensely tall. Well, that's a completely different story. Whoever built these weren't always, you could say, the most conscious builders, in sense that size of the structures. But here's the first, you could say, deity puzzle. And these rooms have all very similar. Oh, this one did. Oh, it did have. Yeah, if I would have stayed beneath that door, it would have just crushed me. And it would have actually resulted in quite hilarious ragdolling, but not necessarily wise to show every possible unpleasant way of losing your life. And that wasn't particularly necessary. But yeah, Hephaestus, but for some reason it's a lightning. So the trick of this puzzle is to avoid getting zapped to death by standing on these blocks. Damn it. But with good timing, it is possible to just dodge those lightning bolts by jumping, because, well, air doesn't conduct that well. And there would be a big of a, you could say, a block puzzle again, just to show that, yep, what's going on in around this place. And of course, you can just use the block as a pedestal to jump over. Or not, just get it crushed. Alright. There's these holes in the ground. Put the boxes in. So, yep, just Use the big ass hammer as a moving, as a, you could say, step ladder. And I would say that in the original one, the hammer was even bigger and more impressive. But of course, big hammer and Hephaestus don't really mix that well. Hephaestus was a smithing god, and Thor is basically was a warrior god, not basically a craftsman god. So there's a kind of, you could say, strange thing. But although hammer is quite big and prominently important tool of blacksmith, so it being like here does make some sense, and I got no interest of starting to. Alright, well, let's put this in here. That one opens that plate to do specific thing. So let's just trigger it to open the door, and another door away from Hephaestus's, you could say, puzzle. So let's just try to get that. Oh, bit of a slip, mistiming. No matter, got the key of Hephaestus. And have a nice little jump to avoid getting zapped by lightning. Just flip this and get up here. And that's a timing puzzle. It always gives this kind of three chimes, or whatever the word might be, to tell you that how it is. Also a visual cue of this spark starting to go, and then you can just start going. And a big board just comes out telling me that, yep, you solved this one. And the next location to head towards might be Atlas. That's... or is it? Well, drop, grab. No, I don't think there was any other ones up there, so it's a bit more, one more of the, you could say, navigate again. These little nooks and crannies. There's Poseidon, but it ain't that easy to get there, so... Actually, it does look like I might get there quite easily. Oh, I just go in here. Well, let's just try to head towards Poseidon. It takes these jumps to get there. I would have already gone past that location with that basic maneuvers and all that. So just carefully go past here to Poseidon. Water puddle. That's a big hint that, yep, there's about to be wet stuff around here. Okay. Not this one. This one that has to be done differently. Yeah, these doors don't open at all. The mechanism is broken. So just jump through here and jump through here. A big jump. and fall to your demise. And a new enemy, a rat. Poseidon. That would not be a big surprise at all that Poseidon is a water themed. Okay, just pull the switch. And open up. In the original one, Poseidon was basically just a long corridor that you dive into, then there's a switch key and switch down there and you will open it. But here it is, Poseidon's location. Don't know the exact word for it, but it involves raising and lowering water levels, which is, you could say, a puzzle that would show up later, but in you could say a bit of different form. So let's just open up this to clear some more path. The music is quite grand. So, but the basic puzzle is that I have to get some way to open there. So just diving in, and for some reason this switch, well, it was quite high as well, could not be opened without lowering the wall place first. So it opens brings a big floaty wooden ship or raft up there, which is now kind of beyond reach. So it would be time to do some lower the water level puzzle. Oh, not like that. Made a big mistake. Yeah, and a little cutscene to show that water is being raised. It's quite nice. And the original Tomb Raider also had a stage which had a, you could say, gimmick of water levels being manipulated, and it does appear in, well, it does appear, but with a bit different name in this game as well. Although, if I recall right, it was within Greek as well. So let's just make a beautiful swan dive over here. So yeah, but these blocks are clear in the sense that, yep, you just position them properly into these water spout fishes and you block the water flow. And that way you can go. Alright. That gave me a bit of damage. But now I can just get the raft up. Move it around with a not that particularly complex puzzle. And this also demands some, you could say, three-dimensional thinking, as in not just in ups and downs. You have to think, there's some needing to think about where it's gonna be when with going up or down. Alright. How do I even get up there? From here. Bit of climbing puzzle. So, but now I can just open up some more of the water to come in. And that brings up the raft. And while I'm at it, let's just go and grab the first aid pack. And call it some more. Alright. More or less in completely perfect position. So now it's just a matter of Raising the water again. This puzzle is, I'm solving it way more faster, smoother than it used to be because I played through this game quite freshly. I played through it freshly and then decided to do this. So my memory is quite fresh regarding all these puzzles. Oh, but now I just got through here, there, climbing, and walked across here, and used the spindly arms to get through that. And it's a key of Poseidon. And just as a final certainty, let's lower the water level a bit. And let's just do some no idea how could I open that one. I wonder would it have something to do with a raft? Maybe it does, maybe it would not. Doesn't really matter. Because here's the return pool again. Just dive in, swim through all this path, and get up. Well, level design is very solid and efficient one. Just climb it, because it's not just a matter of getting through one way, it's also it also has the puzzle of getting through the second time. Like it regards to mountain climbing, which is not something I do because it's very expensive. It doesn't matter that if you just happen to climb to some mountain top. If you happen to die there as well, you ain't basically the first one to climb it, because hell, to climb it you have to usually be able to get down from there and then gloat that yep, this is what I did with success. So, but now it demands a bit more. Atlas done, Poseidon done. No, actually no, not Atlas is not done. Hephaestus and Poseidon have been done. So let's just head to the Atlas now, because I haven't managed to open up the Damocles yet, and I might guess that to get there I would need to let's see. Yeah, it really doesn't look that doable with that kind of those maneuvers. Yeah, my brain is running my brain is processing. It doesn't process well. Even less so when I have to do some Alright. That's a too long way to jump to get there. But I can jump here. And then I now do some. That goes to Damocles down there. Once it's opened, and it can be opened from there. But how do I get there? Bit of convoluted thinking and puzzle regarding this. Well, there's Atlas over there. Yeah, it's from up there that I get to Atlas, but how exactly? Well, I just have to get first. I would say that get up so you can look the situation from as a whole instead of just small part of it. that is something like maybe some smart boy somewhere said regarding problems, that first try to look at them as a whole and then you can figure out the proper piece to solve solution. Because working with the limited information is what makes things difficult and disastrous. Oh yeah, I think I figured it out. How to get to Atlas. Say hello to him. Alright. Jump here. Alright, this would be a quite simple ramp puzzle that drop and jump to avoid getting squished by falling into ramp down there and then ramp down to death. So up, grab that, and now I'm at Atlas. After that it's 3 out of 4 solved. Alright, once again it's this same actually not, it was not the same, it was once again of this same puzzle around here. And Atlas is, I would say, a bit more simplistic, simple puzzle. It involves spinning this item to, or roll to get the path going, and then it's basically much more a case of oh yeah, that's kind of severe looking danger, as in Atlas is not that good at carrying that stuff around here anymore. So it would be it's a puzzle of not just, it's a puzzle of, well, not a puzzle, it's a chase sequence. Yep, now it's done, and it's gonna crash. And I get crushed. Yeah, that's not the proper solution for that. Yeah, it was basically just a matter of escaping, but the exact method of how was a bit of... It's a bit of a, you could say, well, I can climb here. Bring out the pole. Oh yeah, I think I just solved the problem. Yep, just make that one wiggle. Now let's just look. Is the pole still there? Pole is still there, just... Yep, now I hit again. So now it becomes a runaway chase. Yep. And that solves the puzzle. Did not look at all the pieces of the puzzle. I looked at them at, you could say, in a bit of wrong order, and that caused a, you could say, expectedly quite disastrous case of squishiness. And there's also a piece of artifact. So that just grab the piece of the Atlas's key of Atlas. And this one should bring up, and it does. Just opens that one, allowing to get through. Quite simple, nice puzzle. That's much more of a less thinking puzzle and much more of a just action puzzle. In that, yep, get up here. And while this is going, get in here. That one, this one just has way. Well, the bar made that part of the puzzle just quite easier. And there's seems to be maybe a few more enemies showing up. Well, alright. But now I have to do some thinking regarding. Actually, do I? Yeah, I can come here and now drop down here to get there. I might not need to do any sort of edit to get to the Poseidon, to Damocles. Oh, not like that. Wrong direction to jump. Yeah, I know that. Yep. This is much more difficult stage, you could say. Yeah, grab that ledge. Jump here. Get here, and there it is. I've solved the how to enter open Damocles puzzle. So now I just have to get an enter there. I'm not gonna make an edit to that. Yes, I was now in here. So this puzzle was required to get the, you could say, solved, get into Damocles. I was a bit too, you could say, hasty regarding this one. Meaning I solved this before I had reason to. But as it isn't really much of a, you could say, difficult. Just slide through that and get into Damocles. And this is also quite, you could say, well, not being down there is one thing. I would say this is kind of unique in sense that the rest were gods. Damocles is a case of a basically allegory of a king. So, but just open the block, get the block, open this, and you can get through here. So it's in a sense unique of all these, that all these are Greek mythologic things, but Damocles was not a deity, although there's plenty of swords and stuff running for the roof, suspicious looking floor, and that's very obvious trap. So the problem with the puzzle in Damocles is not so much there being a difficulty to navigate the key. The difficulty is getting out. Yeah, the door gets closed. Swords start to come out from the floor, and the roof. And the wards on the roof also start to get going. So it is now time to be very carefully approach these areas regarding this place. And of course, floor spikes get up with different intervals. So it's gonna be a bit of a, you could say, navigation puzzle. Oh, not like that. I spent too much time talking, not enough time running through the problem. So that was not that smart move. I may have to do some, you could say, shutting the hell up to get through this puzzle. So there must be quiet silence. Alright, got through a little bit. And at this phase it's very smart to just trigger all these swords with the use of the careful use of the walk. Just to make the regular navigation which follows. Yep, my mistake. This place takes a lot of editing to cut all these smashing deaths. I have to start moving again. Not like that. That was a bloody and brutal death. Logic of this puzzle. It's going from white to white. Not like that. Trying it again. From white piece to white piece. Ah, yes, got through that. I wonder what did I just figure out the, you could say, a logic of that puzzle. And there's another of these artifacts behind there, but it's like not that, you could say, fun to try to get. So let's just, so was it jumping to this whole block in here, and I think I am quite certain that it's a jump to. Nope, it ain't. Yep, this puzzle is the one which is gonna cause you big death. Oh damn, forgot. Yeah, it was a of these big pillar things to just up. Now I got to here, and as I got on the spiky wall, I was right about the pillar but wrong about the method of getting it. So I guess that's something like a 50% correctness, as in you're getting the wrong conclusion but you are on the right track. And here comes you could say another of these swing puzzles, but this time you have to jump out from that pillar, not just jump forward, because that would throw you back to the beginning, but you would have to jump sideways from that, which of course gives a bit more difficulty to navigate. It's still quite much of it's basic maneuver still anyway, so it is not that much of a issue. So now, oh yes. But got to the sword Damocles. In the original one, it was much simpler, just a swords falling from the sky type of puzzle. So, but I got through that one. So it is of course just a matter of getting this to open again. And jumping over that one. But now I have to fork all the 4 keys down there. There's even a nice and friendly little block being moved, just to make it a bit more convenient to get down here. I'd say that level design is much more emphasizing on specific order on how to do things. So, but here's the basic open the keys. Poseidon opens one piece. Hephaestus another. And of course the red one, Damocles, goes to the Damocles. And Atlas goes to Atlas. And of all these puzzles, I say that Damocles is the least fun, with the kind of annoying timing puzzles and all that. But this is how the level ends. So see ya next time. See ya.